Welcome back to Suja South Africa. I'm Nikki Nash as always, and today you guys join me inside the Volkswagen T-Roc. So I've driven this car before. I've had it on test before in the year, well, last year actually, around this time. So click the pop-up banner or the link in the description box below to find out what the old me thought of us about this vehicle. But if you want to know what the new me thinks about this vehicle, stick around so I can tell you everything you need to know about this vehicle and why I love it, but I wouldn't buy it because it's so expensive. So the T-Roc, you guys have seen this car on the road for a couple of years now. So the one I'm in is the facelift. So they've just changed up the front and they've changed up the rear. That's essentially what the difference is. So from the front, there's a new headlight design. There's that whole new light bar design integrated on front. The bumper design to the lower end is much different and actually much better looking in this one. When you move on to the side profile, for me it's the exact same. The only difference is obviously get a different wheel option. So the one I'm in has something called the black package or night package, hence the wheels and the door mirrors and a bit of the rear quarter panel is in black. Moving on to the rear, you get different light design. So even if on the facelift you get two different types. So in the facelift you get normal LED head rear tail lights, and then if you opt for the IQ Matrix LEDs, you get the ones that the one that I have now has, and they look beautiful. They work the wonders, and they have that bear with me. It's very nice. I like it. I like the look of the vehicle at the back. Then you get a different bumper design from the pre-facelift. That's all you have to look in terms of the exterior. And then the interior, the main difference when you jump in the interior, the first thing you'll notice, or the first thing that I noticed and I love so much in this vehicle, is the seats. So these seats are the sport seats. These sport seats are found in the Volkswagen Polo GTI, and but you have to option them in that. Same thing in here, and I really do like them. I think when VW comes to fetch this car, they might fetch it with no front seats because these seats just look amazing. But that's the first thing that you'll find that the facelift T-Roc has is the seats. The digital instrument cluster, it's an option, but that you can find on the pre-facelift as well. The steering wheel, that's where there's another difference. So you get these haptic feedback buttons. So I've spent so much time in so many different VW products that these haptic feedbacks, I do not like them. But I'm starting to become a fan of them because I think I've spent so much time in them and I've gotten accustomed to them. So I think that's why I like them. Something that I also just recently found out about these haptic feedback buttons. So when you press them, they make this clicking sound, so you can feel like it feels like actual buttons. But when the car's off, it doesn't have that feature anymore. So there's some mechanism within the steering wheel that switches off the haptic feedbackness, if that makes sense. And then you can't press anything. It feels like you're pressing like on a flat surface. So it's very interesting. Moving on to the center console, you get this touchscreen infotainment system. I'm not a fan of it because it's like a pop-out one, whereas in the pre-facelift was integrated into the dashboard and it looks much better in the pre-facelift for me personally. So I like that. Another thing that I don't like is that being a facelift, you'd expect things like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to be wireless, but no, it's not wireless. You still have to take your phone, plug it in to get the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Not really a train smash, but for someone like me, when you spend so much time in vehicles that almost every second vehicle that I drive these days, when I get into the vehicle, it's wireless Apple CarPlay. So it's those small things that do eventually you notice. Not that they'll get you, but you will notice if you're exposed to vehicles like that. So something that I wish it had. But something that I do like is that the climate control, they've kept it here, but they've did that whole, let's give it a haptic feedback buttons. You can use it, you'll get used to it, it's fine, not a problem. But I like the fact that it's not within the infotainment system like many other vehicles. So I like that about the vehicle. That's essentially that has to do with the interior. That's the main changes. There's not anything wow. Oh, you get this lovely glass sliding panoramic sunroof, and you guys know that a VW without a glass sliding panoramic sunroof is not a VW for me, unless if it's the only ones that I can accept is the Amarok, because you can't get a sunroof in that. But other than that, a VW is to have a sunroof. Talking about practicality of the vehicle, this car is not one where you look for practicality. It's like the last car we reviewed, the Mazda CX-30, which also competes with this vehicle. It's vehicles that you buy because you like, not vehicle that you buy because you want big boot space, you want decent legroom, you want all those fancy things. Well, not fancy things, but you want the practicality. This is not that. You want it because you like it. we'll speak about the price a bit later, and I'll tell you about the drive of the vehicle and things that I've noticed over the week that I've had this vehicle that I didn't notice on the previous one. So this car has different driving modes. It has an eco mode, it has a comfort mode, it has a normal mode, it has a sport mode, it has an individual mode. So it has 5 driving modes. And off the bat, when you find out about those driving modes, you think that they're not necessary. But the one that I'm in is optioned out with something called DCC. That's Dynamic Chassis Control. And what that essentially is that it adjusts to, depending on how you set it, to the road conditions, the road imperfections, so to be a bit more comfortable. So if you put the chassis in sport, every single bump you will feel it. It's a very hard bump, you will feel it. But if you put it into comfort, it's very comfortable. It glides all over them. So something that, so I've watched reviews, I've watched people say you need the DCC in a T-Roc, but honestly, before driving it, I thought you don't necessarily need it until I drove one that has it, which is this one, and I actually got to understand why it's there. And it's something that, it's an option that I'll definitely will take when buying a T-Roc, amongst many other options. So the one I'm in is a 2-liter power 2-liter turbo petrol engine producing 140 kilowatts. I'm not too sure about the newton meters of torque, slipped off the top of my head, but I'll put it on the screen now. Through a 7-speed DSG. So the DSG gearbox, I'm a fan of it, but not a fan of it in small engines like a 1-liter or 1.4-liter, because it ends up doing too much work because of the lack of power or the lack of engine capacity. Whereas in this 2-liter, like this week, I've got to understand that the DSG works wonders in this 2-liter. You put your foot down, even when you're driving, it's just so smoothless. I mean, eco, but everything just flows. Every gear, the next gear, 1, 2, 3, just flows. And I like that about the vehicle, that the DSG works perfectly. And I think across the whole Volkswagen brand, the DSG works perfectly in a 2-liter or in a vehicle or in an engine that has the capacity. Well, that's my personal preference, personal opinion in that regard. So I do like the 7-speed DSG. Obviously, being a Volkswagen, you will get that lag, but when it's your personal vehicle, you get over the lag because you get used to the lag. That's with regards to the turbo lag of the vehicle. Now, moving on to that part where I'm going to tell you about the vehicle, the price of the vehicle, and why I would not buy it. So there's 2 model variants in this car. In this one, you can get a T-Roc design. It comes with the 1.4-liter turbo petrol engine. I think it's the 110 kilowatt one. And then you can get the one I'm in, which is the R line, which comes with the 2-liter. And the design starts at 606,000 rand. The R line starts at 712,000 rand. Already for an R line, it's a lot of money. And you know, VW, you have to pay for every single thing. So things like a reverse camera, you have to pay for. Adaptive cruise, you have to pay for. At that premium already. So the one I'm in is spec'd with every single thing. And I mean every single thing you can choose to spec this vehicle. Except for the Beats audio system. And I think that's, let's just say, minus 15,000 rand, right? But this car has every single thing. And according to the configurator, those cars priced at 806,000 rand. There's only one option that I couldn't find in the configurator that it has, and it's the night package or black package, where the wheels are black. You have the rear windows are tinted, the side mirrors are black, and then to the rear quarter panel there, you have this, not black, but what's the word, carbon fiber finish, right? That's the only option that is not on the configurator, and I believe that option should be anywhere between 5 to 10,000 rand. So roughly this car is priced at 810,000 rand, but we'll stick to the 806,000 rand that I got on the configurator, and that is a lot of money for this vehicle, because now you know where you're playing around. You're playing around Tiguan money and many other vehicles. Like I said with the Mazda CX-30 review, you buy that vehicle because you want it. And it's the same thing here. You buy this vehicle because you want it. You don't necessarily care about the price. Because at 800,000 rand, I can literally tell you to go buy a different vehicle. But if you take the price of this vehicle, the one I'm in, optioned out the way it's optioned out, at 806,000 rand, and finance it over a period of 5 years, which is 60 months, at an interest rate of 12.25%, you're looking at paying 18,000 rand with no deposit, with no insurance, without the fuel into place. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, guys. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. It's a lot of money. And for that is the reason why I would not buy this vehicle. If you could give me this vehicle at 600,000 rand, like this, maybe, sure, I'll think about it. But not at 800,000 rand. You're playing around a lot of cars. You're playing around GTI money. You're playing around T-Roc money. Tiguan money. And that's just from Volkswagen. So imagine where else you're playing around from other brands. What you can get for 800,000 rand. And it's a lot of money. But that's my personal preference on this vehicle. Tell me, you guys that are watching, would you spend 800,000 rand for this one, the one I'm in? Whew, that's a lot of money. You know when something is so expensive that you don't even complain about the price, you laugh it out? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Because hey, but thank you for watching this lovely review from this lovely handsome young fella that you guys are watching. So from City South Africa, I'm the most handsome man in the world, called Nicky Nash. If you disagree, that's up to you. You can go and argue with whoever, but not with me. But I'll see you on the next video. Interesting enough, the next video should be a bakkie. So enough with these small compact SUVs. But yeah, I've told you everything you know about this vehicle. I'll see you on the next one. I'm Nicky Nash, as always.